Yo, everyone. I'm here at Blendon Woods Metro Park Disc Golf Course in, I believe it's technically Dublin, Ohio, northern side of Columbus, anyways. This is hole 16. This is my favorite hole on the course. You can see just a straight ahead 234 shot, throw mid range, throw a putter, get it up there. The reason I'm here, though, is because I am announcing a new video series. And basically, what I'm going to be doing is this will be a full bag round. I will show you the shots I typically take and some alternative routes on each hole and describe the holes. So like when I sit there and play single disc rounds coming up, you'll know why I'm doing what I'm doing. But basically I'm announcing that I'm doing a true Blendon marathon is what I like to call this. Long story short, there's a tournament here in Central Ohio at this course called the Blendon Marathon. It's 3 rounds, and that's not a marathon by any stretch of the imagination. So I was joking with the TD, Andrew Hypes, the great Andrew Hypes, and I'm just like, why is this like not a true marathon? We have like other crazy distance tournaments, like there's like one over in Europe that's 100 holes. And there's the Iron Hill Challenge, which they play 4 rounds of Iron Hill, which is a very hilly, wooded course. So I had this idea in my head of turning this into an actual closer to marathon. This is like a pitch and putt course. I don't know the exact distance off the top of my head, but when I did the calculations, tee to green ended up being about 40 rounds almost. It's like 38.6 rounds, somewhere in there. And 38 rounds is unrealistic to do in one day. So I figure, like A tiers, majors, whatever. So those are 4 days a lot of times. So I decided to split that 38 between 4 days, round up, and so I'm doing 10 rounds of Blendon in one day. Also, Blendon is a pitch and putt course. So a lot of people come here, they'll play, mid-range only, putter only, one disc only if they want to test out that disc. My personal best here is with a Mako 3 only round, even putting and everything. So the next 10 weeks, I will be doing a single disc challenge, announcing each disc that I will be doing in like the actual true Blendon marathon. I think that's everything, but also, so I've recorded my shots. I don't really like to talk and walk because I'm using a camera stand. I don't have like a cameraman or anything like that, or like a selfie stick or anything like that. So I'll just be showing the video, talking about each hole through like a better mic so you can hear me better and everything. And I think that's basically it. This round's not gonna be rated, but this is a full bag round just to give you like an idea of like what I typically throw. Cool.
Hole 1 is 233 feet. It says par 4, but most tournaments will play everything as a par 3, so I will not include the par from here on out. The first shot here is a shot I typically take during tournaments. It's a slight Anheuser sidearm with an ESP force to about circle 2. This next shot is a straight backhand. This gets close to an ace front and ends up playing just on the edge of the circle. Hole 2 is 164 feet. This first shot is a backhand flat shot. I'm taking off a lot of power just because it does slow downhill. This ends up skipping to about circle 2. The second shot is a slight Anheuser shot with a metal flake zone that is inside circle. Hole 3 is 254 feet. You can either throw it dead straight at it with a mid, full power, or take off power and throw a baby flex with something slightly overstable. I throw an ESP Athena here. Hole 4 is 173 feet that curves off to the right. This first shot is a backhand Anheuser with a jawbreaker blend fierce. It comes out a little wide, but it's still inside circle 2. Next shot is a Heiser sidearm with a Luft Xenon. This is inside circle, probably about 20 feet. Hole 5 is 176 feet. It is even more to the right and slightly downhill. This hole is hard to film because it is so far off to the right. The first shot I throw a huge backhand anhyzer with the Jawbreaker Blend Fierce. I'm actually listening for change because I know this is close to going in. It ends up landing about 10 feet from the basket. This next shot is a sidearm with the ESP Force. I don't get the nose up enough and ends up going slightly deep, about 40 feet. Hole 6 is the longest hole in the course. It's 277 feet, low ceiling, ends off to the right, slightly uphill. This first shot is with an ESP Force. This is about the max distance of my sidearm potential, and I end up leaving this one a little short, about 40 feet. The second shot is with an Ethos Mantra. You can flex a sidearm through this, like hyzer flip flex. It is very difficult though. This Mantra shot ends up being about 20 feet from the basket and high. Hole 7 is 172 feet, slightly downhill, and a little bit left. I don't think this hole lines up for a sidearm at all. I throw a sidearm for my second shot, but the backhand is like what I do 100% of the time. I throw an ESP zone here. It skips off the concrete and ends up being about circle's edge deep. Hole 8 is 156 feet, slightly uphill, dead straight. I've hit the basket on this many times, still no aces though. This first shot is with a Jawbreaker Blend Fierce. I end up early releasing it slightly, but it's still circle's edge. The second shot is my more preferred shot. It is a slight ante with a metal flake zone. And yeah, that's part. Hole 9 is 143 feet. It's slightly uphill, maybe a foot or two, but quite a bit off to the right. This first shot is with the Jawbreaker Blend Fierce. I end up pulling too much power off of it, getting the nose up slightly, which causes it to high at the end. I thought it was good out of my hand though. Circle's edge. This second shot is with the metal flake zone. I end up producing it slightly too flat. It hits a tree. It still kicks to about circle's edge. Hole 10 is 219 feet. This is quite a bit downhill, slightly out to the left, but there are trees in the way, so it's better to go flat to hyzer. I don't really think there's a second shot on here. I always throw a flat to hyzer or hyzer flip with a center table disc. I'm throwing an ESP zone here, and it gets a little squeaky towards the end, but it's still about 20 feet. Hole 11 is 198 feet. It's basically a longer version of hole 9. It goes slightly off to the right. This first shot is with a Jawbreaker Blend Fierce. It's slightly late released, but it's still about 40 feet. The second shot is with the K1 Lots. Sometimes I'll throw Athena, but it's basically a slight hyzer flip. This one ends up being slightly too hyzer and is about 40 feet short. Hole 12 is 194 feet. It does not curve off to the right as much as the sign says. It's just slightly off to the right. There's a couple different gaps you can take, but there's a vine that has made the backhand gap a lot harder. In the dead center of the screen, you can see the vine I'm talking about between the two trees. This is a 2022 ESP Fierce backhand. Let it flip up and ride right. Goes a little deep. I thought it was an ace out of my hands. The cardmate once called this the Brett Favre route because you're releasing like your sidearm off away from your body instead of tucked in. I end up throwing a metal flake zone here, and it's about 25 feet, slightly short. Hole 13 is 187 feet. It's dead straight, slightly downhill. There's an ESP zone. I like to throw it flat, slightly anhyzer, and let it fight back. Dead straight, easy shot. This is the same ESP Fierce that I threw last hole. Just hyzer flip it, let it ride straight. I end up flipping this a little bit too much and putting a little bit too much power on it, but I get a perfect free kick and it leaves me about 15 feet. Hole 14 is 137 feet. It goes slightly off to the right, downhill, and there's much more downhill past the basket. This is a deceptively hard hole for most people. I took this a little too hard and slightly nose up, ends up fading out and going a little bit deep, about 45 feet. Jawbreaker, Blendon, Fierce. This sidearm with the metal flake zone looks slightly shanked out of my hand, too much hyzer, but it's actually about 15 feet deep. There is a third shot on this hole. There's a skinny gap, but the foliage has grown so much that you have to kind of release it high. It feels awkward. I don't like this, but I see people throw this shot all the time. Here's a better view of the little skinny gap that you can throw and the foliage that's grown up. Hole 15 is 177 feet, quite a bit downhill, and then way off to the right. This is the ESP Fierce. This looked perfect out of hands, and I thought for sure it was going to be an ace, but it ended up being about 10 feet from the basket. This is Loop Xenon. I end up throwing this slightly too hard, and I go about 40 feet deep. This is the hole that I was filming the intro on. It's 234 feet, dead straight, low ceiling. I like to power down here and throw little baby flex. This is an ESP Athena. It's going slightly deep, ace runs it, but it's lasting about 15 feet from the basket. Hole 17 is 240 feet. It's slightly off to the left, maybe 3-4 feet. You're basically on the same shot as 16, just ever so slightly want a little bit heavier of a finish. I'm throwing the same ESP Athena I threw in the last hole, but instead of baby flexing it, I'm going for a flat release. It still flips up a little bit and ends up going slightly deep, but it's a beautiful shot. I thought it was an ace out of my hand. Hole 18 is 217 feet. It's quite a bit uphill, and these trees in the middle are a little bit more grown up than I show in the picture. I like to throw a big stall hyzer here. This is an ESP Force. I've also seen people do a anhyzer with a very overstable disc. I thought this was perfect out of my hand, but like normal, I went about 15 feet deep.
I'm back home and I'm editing my video, but I realized there's a few more things I wanted to bring up. I have 7 out of 10 discs picked out for the rounds, so if you have any recommendations, let me know. I plan on putting, I plan on putting with the disc too, even if it's a driver or something weird. I'm sure I'm gonna get some spin outs because of that and missed putts because it's not a putter I'm used to using, but that's part of the one disc challenge glory. My personal best of the course is a 42, which is -21 course par or -14, all par threes. That's with the Maria Oliva Sea Blend Glow Anubis, which I've used quite a bit in this round I just showed. The hardest holes to me are holes 6, 15, 12, and 5, and in that order. I love the course. I've played it at least 100 rounds, probably closer to 200 if I had to guess. It just has a great culture to it. It's, I know I can birdie every hole out there, but at the same time, I don't feel terrible taking a 3. I just don't want to take anything above a 3. When I was filming this round, I ran into a group of 4 who were throwing 150 feet max, but they were still having a blast and everything, which is basically the joys of disc golf, you know. Compare that to me, I'm a decent MA3 player, and you have all sorts of different players, and even further out than those 2 examples, the course record is at 35, which is -19, which birding every hole except for one, which was an ace. On top of that, I've personally seen local legend Brad Schick, sponsored by Discraft, shoot -18. I imagine this whole round will take about 5 hours for the whole thing. That's kind of like a middle line estimate. It could take longer, could take shorter. Anyways, um, my main concerns with this challenge are first and foremost endurance. Um, I'm roughly 240 pounds. I used to be over 300, probably about 315 if I had to guess at my max. Uh, so like I have like a lot more endurance than I used to have, but it's still like a long time. Uh, at 3,631 feet, according to UDisc, that's 6.9 miles of walking and throwing for 10 rounds. At the extra distance of hole 1 and 18 back to the parking lot or back to the start of the course, and I'm looking at least 10 miles. That's a lot. Like, and again, over 5 rounds, it's 30 minutes a mile. It's not by any means fast, but it's not slow. I've read somewhere that the average walking speed is 2.5 miles per hour. That's for all ages, so that brings it slightly lower than that. When I'm like out walking, exercising, I'm like 3.75 ish. So, give you an idea. You add in throwing on top of that, it's going to be an endurance test. The idea of injury also worries me. I throw hundreds of backhands in a day. I'm fine doing that. These aren't max power backhands either, which, like, if I'm sitting there throwing max power backhands, like, yeah, those start to hurt after a while. Like, tendons and muscles, they get sore from overuse. Sidearm is a different story. I have no doubt I'll be sore throwing that many sidearms, and some of these discs that I'm picking in this are very overstable discs. So I'm going to be throwing sidearms because I can't throw an anhazard backhand. So, I'm not going to get away from it. On top of that, your form gets sloppier like when you get tired. So, yeah, mistakes might happen. Hopefully they don't injure me. I fully expect to be sore the next day, but I hope it's not in the next week as well. Hydration and hunger also worry me. I live off of coffee. I drink coffee literally like 12 hours a day. Coffee and exercise don't mix well. It just dehydrates you quicker. I don't really have like the crazy digestion some people get like from coffee, but at the same time, it's not great for digestion. On top of that, I burned roughly 450 calories today just walking the course for a round and playing the one round. Because I walked a second round basically just to take pictures of T signs and try to get like a more accurate representation. I could easily see round 10 being 2,500 calories burned, just like during the rounds themselves. And on top of that, like the normal like 250, 300 daily calories I burn just basically from existing. Lastly, this is one of the busiest courses in Ohio. Even, like you just like constantly post that, like the year-end stuff of busy courses and all that stuff. I'm sure casuals will slow me down, like whether they're like good players or very amateur players. I know there's like a couple various like education groups that go through there just for like a field day basically. I don't know what time they ever go there. Hopefully they'll let me play through because I'm a solo player in one disc and everything. On top of that, I also have to deal with like the camera because I only recorded drives for this round, but for the one disc only rounds, I plan on recording every single shot. And on top of that, I plan on literally recording the whole 5 hours or whatever it is for the the true Blendon marathon. I'm not sold on that name yet, by the way, so if you guys have like a better name, let me know, I guess. There was one other thing. When I played the round, it was 1.8 miles. And then when I walked the course after that, it ended up being 2.9 miles total. So probably about 1.1 miles per round, given tee to green, because, that 1.8 includes the morning and everything, and on top of that includes I had to do multiple drives, finding those and all that stuff, and then deal with the camera as well. On top of that, if you want even more data, it was 3,874 steps and then 5,496 steps. I think that's everything though. I want to post a video. This one's going to take a little bit more time to edit than the rest of them, I think. But I want to post a video at least once a week, preferably on Thursdays, so that way I can, because I stream in my free time and do other things in my free time. So I'm hoping I can stream on Wednesdays and Fridays, which are my days off, and then just, Thursdays, pure disc golf. I do like the idea of playing these rounds Wednesday morning, though. I think I'm going to keep doing that. Anyways, that's everything. Except there's one other thing I did want to talk about, an update on the nails. Overall, this went a lot better than I thought it would. I've actually received quite a bit of compliments on them, which kind of surprised me. 2 different times I went to Starbucks, the baristas there were in love with my nails. I had a couple of people compliment me during one at Whitehall League, and then one at during the Brent Herrick Memorial Tournament that I wore them. I had one guy say that he wishes he could paint his nails, and obviously, I told him you can. It doesn't have to be for the same reason I did. You can just do stuff that doesn't hurt other people. That's that's life. So maybe I don't know what his circumstances are like at home or anything like that, but maybe he can do that in the future if it brings him happiness or he wants to do it or whatever, just to try it out. I did have a buddy tell me that a cardmate of his did make a comment, like a negative comment, and a third person on that card said, "Mind your own effing business." So got shut down pretty quickly, I guess. I don't really think I affected people the way I was hoping to, as far as bringing awareness to transphobia in disc golf. Other than 2 people, I did have conversations with them, and I don't really think they were transphobic to begin with or anything like that, but maybe I brought awareness to the issue, and hopefully they can spread that awareness and curb this disgusting behavior, and be more inclusive to the people who play disc golf, and how we treat people. Also, it's kind of funny too, because this is very bright pink, which is kind of a contentional, but kind of I want to go a more lighter pink. And a girl at the course was asking about my nails, and then a caddy, another girl caddy, was actually she had the shade of pink, a closer shade of pink that I was going for, and was like, "Those are what I was looking for," and she's like, "Oh, thanks," so overall, I'm really surprised. Of course I did get some weird looks and stuff, and I expected all that stuff, and the reception at work was again more weird looks, no one complimenting me, but it's kind of a bit of a different culture shock and everything than the disc golf courses. So I know it's not related to this video at all, which is kind of why I left at the end, just giving an update and everything. But overall, I'm definitely gonna keep doing this. It's weird too, because I like the color out of just instead of seeing white or clear down there, I like seeing color instead. It's just my tattoo on my wrist. When I first got that, it wasn't necessarily don't get me wrong, I like the artwork and everything in my tattoo, but it's just looking down and seeing color, instead of seeing the bland white skin. Another thing too is it's kind of hard to see, but disc golf beats up nails really quickly. This one's already chipped because of sidearms, and the rest of them are not in great condition either. I think that's everything though. So bye.